Merry Christmas. And coming up this year, we have the V12 coming now, Commander RS EXN high speed. And at some point, it might drop a S20. So keep an eye on our channel. We have one sample of S20 coming to us, so we're really looking forward.
Okay, so we are a little bit more orthodox. So we all learn on InMotion's first generation wheels. So we're talking about the InMotion V5, the V8 and the V10. So the V5 is a small 14-inch wheel, which quite frankly, unless you're pretty small, lightweight, probably you want to skip that one. I mean, it's kind of cool because it's really small and lightweight and also cheap to purchase, but it's not stable. It's quite difficult to balance on unless you're smaller. The V8 and V10 both feature 16-inch wheels, similar wheel size. The V10 is slightly taller because it has a bigger battery pack. Otherwise, they're quite similar. V10 has a larger motor in theory, but for some reason we all think that the V8 is more torquey, which I've never really figured out. But anywho, both of those wheels are great to learn on, great to sort of hone your skills. They're very direct, they're very safe, they're light. With InMotion, you're always getting probably the safest wheels out there, you know, in terms of the depth in the design,
Manufacturing.
Yeah, manufacturing quality, just
and safety measures.
Safety margins. So, you know, InMotion will leave a lot of headroom in terms of kind of power in the electronics. So you're never quite as close to the edge of the performance envelope as you can get to, say, with Bugatti, Gotway or Kingsong. So, you know, it's a great wheel to start off on. So we always advocate that. And the great thing about a V8 is it's 14 kg. It's always useful for those little trips to the shop, or if you wanted to sort of have something that's not ridiculously heavy that you can just buzz around on. You know, most people just keep hold of their V8s because they're just so useful. And also there's a good used market in V8s, so you know they're pretty easy to dispose of should you need to. So yeah, that's the orthodoxy, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that everyone that kind of upgrade and evolve from the V8 or InMotion wheels, they try to keep it as much as possible. At least they have the cash to buy something else or whatever, so they always try to keep it as a second wheel.
Well, I mean, this is the thing about wheels. I mean, yes, they're expensive products, but in the scheme of things, especially if you're used to cars or motorbikes, you can actually consider having more than one. There are people out there that have 3 or 4 different wheels for different purposes. So, you know, you might have something like an InMotion V8, which is nice and lightweight and portable. You can nip to a restaurant, sling it under the table, no one's going to bat an eyelid. Or if you're going on a mega trip, something like this one here, the Commander, with a 3.4 kilowatt hour? It's a massive battery. And it does, over 100 miles of range relatively easily at reasonable speeds. Plus, the high-speed version is super quick. So, you know, for a road trip, for sort of like, you know, like a long sort of road going trip, something like that's great. However, if you're in the mud and on a trail, maybe it's a bit heavy and not quite as maneuverable as, say, an S18. So, you know, you might have a lightweight wheel, you might have a suspension wheel, and you might have something like a Commander. You know, for the longer, or even the new Veteran Abrams, which again is a big heavy wheel, or the original Bugatti Monster, you know.
Yeah. Monster?
Yeah, but that's a blast from the
It's
past.
only one use for a Monster.
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, so yeah, horses for courses.
If you want to do coast to coast, get the
Yeah,
Monster,
like
you know?
look, if you want to go fast in a straight line, super stable, Monster's great. Not so great for trails or agility or nipping in and out of traffic. The V8, great for that. Nipping around a town, amazing for that. We've all used it for that, you know. Then the mid-range wheel. So here's the thing. So the Kingsong 16X, which was the first really successful wide-tired mid-range wheel, super powerful, super torquey, and it's kind of small enough. We all love it. We all love the 16X, you know, because it does everything. It does. It's one of those wheels that literally it will do the agile stuff. It's still light enough to carry around. It's fast.
The trolley's perfect.
Trolley
weight
handle's amazing.
Perfect.
So and that wheel doesn't die because it's always useful. That wheel's always going to be useful, and to a certain extent, the InMotion V12, the new wheel on the block, apes that a little bit because it kind of follows that lead, and it's a wheel that pretty much does everything. Plus, the V12's waterproof, which I know sounds stupid, but it's a massive deal. I got caught out in the rain on my RS, and I was just completely stuck. Plus, my trolley handle was buggered. So I'm there in the pouring rain, sort of like shuffling this stupid thing. I had to take my coat off and put it over the wheel, So, but whereas the InMotion V12 is a proper cohesive product, and suddenly you got something that's all-weather, that will do everything. It's super fast, super torquey, great design.
Looks like I can wait to really.
Well, we've tried it at fully
to
charged.
Really see it
I mean, Feast kindly lent us an early version, and it was it's all right. I mean, it's not a wheel that you kind of go wow and fall in love with, but you probably will do after a while. It just does everything.
It takes out of the boxes.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, look, I think the answer to the question is difficult because it depends on a few variables. So to summarise, you're talking about what's your commitment? Are you sure you're going to be into this? Do you want to drop quite a significant amount of money, or do you want to dip your toe in and spend less? Okay, so what's your budget? What's your commitment? Then, how confident are you? I mean, what's your balance like? Are you that confident that you're going to get straight on, say, the new Kingsong S20 Eagle, and spend a huge amount of money and it's all going to be gravy? Or are you a little bit? I'm not so sure. So, what's your skill level? Are you a Olympic champion downhill skier who's just going to sort of get on this thing in 2 seconds flat and not even think about it? Or are you like me, going to take weeks of stumbling around like a middle-aged man trying to ride a unicycle?
Even as a starting wheel, there are more. I mean, if someone comes here and he's a big guy, weighs 120 kilos, and you want to start on a V8, we are going to say no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. So how big are you? How big are you?
Scott.
Yeah, like Scott. Well, Scott did actually learn on a V5 for God's sake.
Well, yes, actually, yes.
So Scott's one of our customers. He's huge. Like, big as a door, super heavy, and literally the guy's on a V5. It's the smallest wheel, the funniest thing you ever seen. And now what's he up to? He's on a Kingsong 18 which is a great wheel. And sort of a mid-sized wheel, but really solid, super reliable, no nonsense, great wheel.
This is another wheel that people don't want to get rid of. They always keep it.
Yeah, I mean, this is a good point. You'll find that there are wheels that stick around because ultimately the design's proven. And let's face it, when you're going sort of 30 miles an hour, standing on a mono wheel with only a computer to kind of hold you up and a battery, you sort of need to know that the stuff's going to be reliable. And the Kingsong 18 XL is the most reliable wheel pretty much ever built.
Yeah.
Doesn't quit.
Yeah.
So look, there are a lot of variables there. I mean, if you're a bigger guy, then stuff like this, or the Veteran, or the new Veteran Abrams, isn't going to scare you. Whereas, I'm a smaller guy. I don't really want to be sort of like schlumping this thing upstairs. It weighs, what does it weigh? Like?
Yeah, of course. I mean, these things to mixed commute, taking up the stairs, downstairs, or you live in a top floor,
or even into the boot of a car. To be fair, they're heavy.
It's
you can put your back out at over 40 kg. Some of these wheels.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about. But look, the best advice really is to come to PET or your nearest friendly EUC provider, and just go try them.
Yeah, we do Saturdays. All the space outside is free for us, so it's indoor space, so you can come try.
And we'll teach you.
We teach you how to do it, and you can choose, and you can see different range, different sizes, different power, and you can.
If there is somewhere that you can do that, and in a shop like us that will help you learn and see you kind of like learn on your first wheel, that's the best advice. Do that rather than just sort of jumping in. If you can do that, you'll get an idea really, really quickly of what's going to work for you.
Yeah.
Rolling.
And for those who know, what?
Should just be like.
So why would you want a suspension wheel as your first wheel, Rob? What reasons?
First wheel?
Yeah.
The novelty, maybe.
Well, look, there is the kind of sex appeal thing. I mean, there was a guy that walked in, took one look at the King's Song S18 and went, "Yep," because it looks amazing. It looks like, you know, totally Blade Runner. So, and people want great looking, amazing products, and the S18 is an amazing product, you know.
Yeah, I mean, also it's more targeting to trails and more off-road. So if people coming from the background of mountain biking or trails, or they want to go for a Sunday ride, started in the forest, or they live in a forest, or
well, this is it. Yeah, this is it.
so
I mean,
maybe
some people,
you see a couple of reviews online. Yeah, maybe you will be trying to go to the something with suspension.
that's a good point. I mean, a lot of people are all over YouTube, and they'll see a test. They'll see somebody riding. They'll see Chooch or whoever. They're riding an S18, like just chucking it around the trail, and they go, "Yeah, that's it." And they'll make their mind up. This is what I want to do. This is my vibe. This is where I want to take it. So that's the wheel for me. And there's no amount of saying, well, are you sure you want to learn on that? They're like, yep, absolutely sure. And, you know, to be fair, they get the wheel, they learn how, and off they go. So, and, you know, every wheel has its quirks. The S18, it has press-on panels, and the good thing about that is you can damage the panels, and they're relatively cheap to just buy new ones and snap back on. So it's not the worst wheel to learn on. You know,
I mean, it's quite good. I mean, it's 3 inches tire.
Yeah, so it's pretty stable,
You know.
it's pretty understandable and predictable. You know, the lack of range on the S18 isn't really going to be an issue if you're just starting out. So, and if you're lighter as well, you know. So one of our customers is a videographer, and he's got a channel called Electric Bliss. Really, really great camera work. We've used Mike for some of our stuff, and he knew pretty quickly that he wanted the Veteran because he had a specific requirement. He knew he wanted a lot of range. He knew he wanted something super stable because ultimately he was going to use it for tracking shots. And you know, sort of like almost like a human drone. I mean, sort of like run along on the wheel and basically shoot stuff as he goes. Veteran's perfect for that, a real stable platform. And you know, again, it's like, you know, if for example you know you're going to spend all your time in the forest trailing, then suspension might be something that you really, really want. You know, because it's great for that. So
Yeah, suspension or something a bit less heavy, really.
yeah.
The Veteran is hard to move.
Yeah, look, the Veteran, is, you know,
It's not agile,
it's
you
not
know.
it's not agile and it's super heavy.
Slower
So
pedals. You don't have any clearance on the pedals.
that's true. So not great for off-road, basically.
Yeah.
You know,
I
as soon as there's a little divot, you know, your pedal goes into it and you're
16, 18 inches, 16 inches they are quite fun actually for trailing. They're really sharp corners.
off. And also torque. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
in general, the smaller the wheel, the gearing is lower and you've got more torque. It's just, you know, simple kind of engineering.
They're really good fun.
Okay, so in summary, the things you should consider. First, budget. How much you're comfortable kind of spending as you know, on your first wheel, which brings us on neatly to point 2, your commitment. Are you absolutely sure that this is what you want, and you're in it for the long haul? 3, body type, so your size. I mean, if you're a huge hulking bloke, you're going to need a bigger wheel. If say you're starting out and you know you're a teenager or something and you're a lot lighter, then that's not going to work for you. You're going to want something that you've got control of and something a bit smaller and lighter. And then, do you have a use case? Like, are you sure that you need it for this specific thing? Like, you want to get around a forest, or you want to race on it, or I don't know, you know, or you've got some sort of road work to do. So if you've got a specific use case, that's going to point you towards a specific wheel, and you might have gone on YouTube and seen that's the wheel for me because that does exactly what I want. So I think that those 4 things pretty much sum it up. I've probably forgotten a few, so please write in and tell us that we're idiots and don't know what we're talking about.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the belly button.
Yes, press my belly button and subscribe. So yes, please thumbs if you like it and all that YouTube jazz. And yes, subscribe because we do exciting videos like this.